to start by saying, hey, what's up to everybody at the MMAcommunity.com. I'm here for a question and answer. My name is Jason the Kid Knight. I fought right out a month ago in Chicago, Illinois. I got fight of the night. And I got quite a few questions from these fans. And, man, I just want to start off by saying thank y'all so much for having me. And I'm super sorry it's taken me so long to get this video. I've had a lot going on, and I apologize. But let's go ahead and get this started. For the first question, we got a question from Alienator. Jason, I read your first fight was at age 14 against a 30-year-old. You definitely earned your nickname. What was it that inspired you to step into the cage at such an early age? All right, man, whenever I was 13, 14, I was just a bad kid. I always got in trouble. I was fighting left and right. You know, if somebody looked my way, somebody said the wrong thing, you know, any little thing that I could get in a fight, I was doing it. I was fighting in school. I was fighting on the streets. I was getting in trouble all the time. And a little after I turned 13, a little bit before I turned 14, I had a buddy. He wanted to teach me a little bit about boxing. He was a little bit older than I was, a guy named Jay Bullock. And he started teaching me how to throw straight punches and, you know, throw kicks and knees and stuff like that. And we started working for maybe a month or two. And Jay Bullock went out to the club one night, and they were passing out flyers for a place called the Fight Club. Well, this is in Mobile, Alabama. He comes home and he's like, hey, man, I heard about this place called the Fight Club. I think you need to go down there and try it. Well, I called him up the next day. I was like, hey, man, I'm only 14. Can I fight? And the guy says, look, dude, I don't care if you're 12. He said, if your mom signs for it, you can fight. Well, I signed up that Monday. I fought that Wednesday, and I've been fighting ever since. And, you know, the rest is history. I fell in love with it and stuck with it. All right, we're going to go on to our next question. It is from Left Hook Larry. What were you saying during the fight? That was a great fight. You're a true warrior. Man, during that last fight, I kicked him off of his feet, told him to get up. I'd hit him with a couple good punches. He'd try to run away or something, and I'd scream at him, come on, man, let's fight. Let's go. Are you ready? Let's go. And I took him down, told him to get back up. In the second round, you know, I knew he was going for that takedown. I knew he wanted that takedown. Told him, go for that takedown, boy. I know that's what you want. And then he tried to get me down in the second round. I stopped the takedown. I said, you're not getting that takedown, boy, not today. And then I told him, I said, I know you want to tap me, but it ain't going to happen. And, you know, just every chance I got, I was screaming at him, tell him, let's go. Come on, let's fight. Get up. Let's go. Come on. You know, I was just trying my best to get inside of his head, trying to, you know, make him even more scared of me than he already was. All right, so our next question, Boner Patrol 69. Do you have a dream fight in the UFC? Where did you fight before? What was the scene like, and could you make ends meet? My dream fight in the UFC, I don't care who it is, but, you know, everybody's dream is to one day fight for the title. You know, I don't think Conor McGregor will keep that belt forever. He's got a lot of flaws, a lot of holes in this game. You know, of course, Nate Diaz exposed that he's not the best on the ground. You know, he got caught in a rear naked choke and didn't even fight it. He got caught with some good punches, and he showed that he really doesn't have the heart that, you know, a lot of fighters have. Some fighters, you get in there and they'll let you beat them to death before they quit. You could see the first time Conor McGregor got hit with a good punch, he wanted to quit. He tried to take Nate Diaz down, went from a stand-up guy to somebody trying to take a jiu-jitsu guy down. So I don't think he'll hold that belt forever. But once I get to that level, once I'm in title contention, I'll take anybody who's got that belt. That's my dream fight. And before I made it to the UFC, I was fighting for Atlas Fights. That's a local promotion down here in Mississippi. They fought at the casinos on the Gulf Coast, and it was pretty awesome, man. I was the hometown hero. Everybody was screaming my name. Everybody knew who I was, and that's where I'm looking to get at with the UFC. I'm looking to get to that level to where everybody in the UFC, all the fans around the world, know my name. They know who Jason the Kid Knight is, and they're screaming for me. They're my biggest supporters, just like around here. I got a lot of supporters locally in Mississippi, but worldwide I'm not known, and I plan on making it happen. And as far as could I make ends meet, man, I made $2,400 a fight. That's if I won. I get 1,200 to walk in the cage, 1,200 to win, and no, I could not make ends meet. I For every fight, I would train maybe 2 hours a day, and that would be after working a 10-hour shift. And I worked at the shipyard. I had to take care of my family somehow, and I don't know if you know anything about fighting, but fighting until you make it to the big show, no, it does not pay the bills. You cannot make ends meet. All right, going to the next question from Lou Velvet. I'm curious if the trash talking in the cage helps him stay in the moment during the fight, or is it mainly the mental game? Or is it mainly the mental game aspect that he tries to use against his opponent? Uh, Lou, man, I've always been one to talk a lot of crap during training and just talk crap outside of the cage to my friends, my training partners and stuff. I like to do a lot of trash talk and have fun with it. And during that fight, something just clicked in my head. I knew I had the fight in control. I knew it was my fight, and at some point, I knew that if I just talked trash to him, it would make it even worse, and he would be even more scared of me. I've never done it before in a fight, but I plan on probably doing it a lot more because it obviously worked for me. I mean, the guy was scared of me, and I got in my zone. I was in my comfort zone, and I was having a lot of fun with it. So I'm sure y'all see a lot more of the trash talk. All right. From the next question is from Will This Work? Is Alan Belcher still a complete beast? Yes, Alan's definitely still a beast. He's kind of fat right now, and he's not looking to fight anymore. So I don't blame him. Whenever I get to the point where I'm not fighting anymore, I'm not training, I'm gonna get fat and probably turn into a pothead. Sit around and chill out all day and have a good time with my life. And I don't blame Alan Belcher for getting fat, but yeah, he's still a beast, and I think he'll eventually get back in shape. And if he ever fights again, I feel for his division. Whether he fights at 185 or 205, Alan Belcher's always going to be a force to be reckoned with. All right, this is another question from Will This Work? Is Reebok really the top-notch fight gear that we all imagined it would be? Man, I somewhat like the Reebok deal because yeah, you get some pretty cool stuff from them. They give you shoes and all that good stuff, and I mean it's okay, but I would much rather be able to have whatever sponsors I wanted and make more money off of sponsors than the Reebok deal. I mean, we're not really making all that money off of sponsorship because you can't wear anything but Reebok inside the cage, and I think it's hurt a lot of fighters. And I mean, it's nothing against Reebok. I mean, they were smart by signing with the UFC. They're probably making a bunch of money off of it. And hey, all the more power to them. Well, the next question, this is still from Will S. Work. This is last question. If you could change one rule in MMA, what would it be? Uh, man, I really don't know. I mean, maybe maybe go back to the Pride days. I mean, knees and kicks to the face on the ground. I mean, why not? I mean, if you're good enough to defend yourself from taking elbows and punches, then why not defend yourself from taking knees and kicks? I mean, in Pride, they took knees and kicks, and it made a lot of fights a lot more exciting. Because I mean, the way I look at it, either you get knocked out or the referee stops the fight. I mean, how much more damage are you going to take from somebody kneeing you or kicking you in the face? They're kneeing you and kicking you in the face while you're standing, so why not while you're on the ground? All right. Moving on to the next question from JDog93. What former or current UFC fighter do you draw your inspiration from? I could imagine Donald Cerrone. You have a similar style, which is awesome. Uh, man, to be honest with you, there's really nobody that I can think of that inspires me. I'm pretty much self-motivated because I have 3 kids. I want to take care of my family, and I want to be the best at what I do. And I want to keep pushing forward and keep evolving and keep getting better. And if you ask me, I'm my own inspiration, and my fans and friends and family, everybody that supports me, they're my inspiration. I don't really need another fighter to inspire me. I mean, yeah, I like other fighters' styles. I like watching Jose Aldo. Man, he's a beast standing up. Anderson Silva's a beast standing up. Donald Cerrone, like he said, Donald Cerrone, man, his aggressiveness, his gritty, nasty meanness inside that cage, it's fun to watch. But I look at it like this. I'm my own person. I'm Jason Knight, and I'm gonna be Jason Knight no matter what. I'm not gonna try to mimic anybody or copy anybody. I'm just gonna go out there and do what I do, and that's all the inspiration I need is having everybody that has my back supporting me, and I'm just gonna keep getting better no matter what, and keep bringing it out in my own self. I don't really need anybody else's help with that. As far as other fighters, I see them as competition now. I mean, I used to be a fan, but now that I'm on the same level, they're competition. I'm no longer idolizing these guys. I'm studying them, getting ready to fight them. All right, moving on to the next question from Kelly. Jason's, what's your walk around weight when you're not in camp? I walk around maybe 162 to 165 at the heaviest. I try to keep my weight at a decent standard so that way, it's not a killer on me to cut weight. Do you find cutting to featherweight getting tougher at all? Any thoughts about going up to lightweight? No, man. I've honestly learned a lot about the weight cut process, and I've got a lot better at it. So cutting weight's getting easier and easier for me, and I'm going to stay at lightweight. I don't see myself getting much bigger, so I'm sorry, I'm going to stay at featherweight. I don't know why I said lightweight, but I'm going to stay at featherweight. I have no reason to move up to lightweight. What is my prediction for Diaz McGregor 2? Honestly, man, I don't know who's going to win. I know that he's going to be ready for Diaz, and I know that Diaz is going to be ready for McGregor. But I pray that Diaz wins. I don't know if you're on the Conor McGregor train or not, but I hate Conor McGregor. I hate the way that he trash talks outside of the cage. I mean, yeah, when you're in there and you're in the moment and you're fighting, go out there and say what you got to say. Trash talk, do whatever. But, I mean, outside the cage, all this talking trash and bad mouthing your opponent and saying that you're the greatest in the world, that doesn't impress me. You know, that if you're really the greatest in the world, go out there and show us. Go out there and show us what you're made of. Do what Anderson Silva did. Don't run your mouth until you get in that cage, and then go in there and be a cocky prick inside the cage if that's what you want. But don't be a cocky prick every day of your life. All right, we got one more question from Kelly. If there was any opportunity for fighters to take a vote to form a fighters association / union, would you check yes or no? Any sort of reasoning for your answer, that would be great. Uh, man, if there was a fighters union, I would say yes. I mean, anything to help us fighters out, it's it's a plus. I want to keep getting better in the sport, keep growing in the sport, and keep making more money. And I mean, that sounds like a good way to do it. I'm gonna have to stop this video. You know, it's already at 16 minutes. I'm gonna start up another video here in a few seconds. I want to thank y'all so much for having me, and I'll get the next video started as quick as possible. All right, before we start this next video, I just want to say, Colin Carter, I love you. All right, my next question is from Super Dave. Did you get any flank from Reebok for the slit in your shorts? Don't recall seeing that style since the new fight kit, so I'm guessing that was done by you and not by Reebok. Actually, those shorts are called Gladiator shorts, and Reebok offers those shorts. They were a little big, so I guess that's why the slits were so bad. But I don't know if you watched my first fight with Calgary, but I had the same shorts. They wasn't big on me. But yeah, the Gladiator style with the slit all the way up to the hip, Reebok offers that, and I love those shorts. I'm gonna get them every time. All right, next question is from Regular John. What do you think of the new 30-hour window weigh-in policy? Does it change anything for you? The new 30-hour weigh-in policy, I think it's awesome, man. We weighed in early that morning, and I was rehydrated. I think we weighed in at 9 o'clock, and I was rehydrated by 12. So I mean, it's awesome because I'm so used to waiting until 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon to be able to eat. And I was already eating that morning, you know, as soon as we got done with weigh-ins. I think we weighed in, I weighed in maybe like 9:30, and by the time I got done weighing in, it was time to go eat, and I didn't have to wait and suffer any longer. So I think it's awesome. And no, it didn't change anything for me. I'm usually on weight early that morning and sitting around suffering all day. If it did change anything, it changed for the better. Do you think it would lead to fighters rehydrating better or just cutting more weight? Uh, I think I think for some fighters, of course, they're gonna cut more weight, and they're probably gonna suffer more because I mean, not a lot of guys are used to being on weight early and on time. They're used to waiting till the last minute and cutting all their weight. But for guys like me, it's a good thing, and we're going to get rehydrated quicker. We're going to have more time to rehydrate, and we're going to have more time to fill our bodies back up with food and Pedialyte, water, stuff like that. We're going to get all the necessary things back in our body. What exactly is my back tattoo? Is there any meaning to it? Man, the wings on my back, they're a cover up for a super ugly tattoo that I got whenever I was 15. Like I said, I started fighting when I was 14, and by the time I was 15, I thought it was smart to get a back piece. And dude, I had the ugliest Grim Reaper that you've ever seen on my back. I don't know if anyone knows what Chuck Liddell's tattoo looks like. It's half Grim Reaper and then half a human body with the muscles flexing, and that's what I thought I wanted at the age of 15. And my dad, he was smart enough to pay for it for me, so I had the ugliest back piece ever. By the time I was 16, 17, I was regretting even getting that tattoo. And the wings are just a cover up. They're nowhere near finished. And by the time it's done and over with, they're gonna look good. And that's the whole explanation for the back piece. It's nowhere near done, so don't judge it yet, please. Next question is from Bob Salvage. Who would you like to fight next, and when do you expect to return? The only person I really got my crosshairs is Kawajiri, because on my first UFC fight, I fought him on 2 weeks' notice, and I lost the decision because Kawajiri laid on me pretty much the whole fight. And the only reason I want to fight him is because he beat me, and I haven't got to avenge the loss. Other than that, I've only lost one other fight. I've only lost twice, and I've avenged the other loss. And until I get to avenge my loss against Kawajiri, he's going to be in my crosshairs. I'm going to call him out every chance I get. And when do I expect to return? I think that I'll get another fight before the end of the year. I know that they like me and they're looking at me and want me to get back in there as soon as possible. I had the 45-day medical suspension because I had a cut on my eye, and I think that's holding me off a little bit. I think I could get a fight quicker, but I'm thinking maybe October, November, something like that. Just I don't really care as long as I get back in there this year. I want one more this year. The next question is from ECC 170. Has anybody told you that you remind them of Cowboy Cerrone? Yeah, I've heard that quite a few times. I've heard that, my style's like his and I'm aggressive like him. So yeah, I've definitely heard that I'm kind of remind everybody of Cowboy Cerrone. But just so y'all know, I'm Jason the Kid Knight, and I'm not trying to be Cowboy Cerrone. I'm trying to be Jason Knight. And before it's over with, y'all will realize that I don't remind y'all of Cowboy Cerrone. I'm Jason the Kid Knight. Next question is from Wild. How did the fight of the night bonus change your life? I know you wanted it badly and deserved it. The fight of the night bonus so far, man, it's helped me live comfortably for a little while. It's helped me take care of my family a lot better, and it's changed the fact that I don't have to work right now. I can train full time and be better prepared for my fights. And I think that it's gonna completely change my life around and make everything better for me and my family. Now that I can train full time, y'all are gonna see a lot better Jason Knight inside that cage, and y'all are gonna see me winning a lot more and hopefully picking up a lot more bonuses. And thank you for saying that I deserved it. You seem to embrace being a small town kid who is living in. I'm sorry. Let me start over. You seem to embrace being a small town kid who enjoys living in Mississippi. What makes your hometown so special to you? Man, I've always been a country boy from Mississippi, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I love it. Where I'm from, it's always quiet. It's always a good peaceful neighborhood. I can leave my truck door unlocked. I can leave my house door unlocked, and I'm not scared of somebody going out and robbing me. And I love it, and why not embrace the fact that I'm from the country and I'm from the sticks, and why not be okay with it? That's what I grew up with. That's where I grew up around, and I love the people from around here. We're all very respectful. We all grew up with good mamas and good daddies, and it seems like there's no reason for me to not embrace it, and that's pretty much my reason to accept the fact that I'm from a small town. It's just who I am, and it's who I'm always gonna be. So, never gonna try to change it. From Jason73, if you could punch one celebrity in the face with zero legal repercussions, who would it be? Uh, Let me think on that for a second. Um, I don't know if you consider Hillary Clinton as a celebrity. I don't really consider her as a celebrity. I consider her as Bill Clinton's wife, you know. And I would love to punch her in the face because I think if she's the president, our country's ruined. You know, I think she's gonna run this country in the ground if she gets president. And I mean, I'd be happy punching her in the face. If you could bang one celebrity, who would it be? Uh, Man, honestly, I don't know how to answer that question. I haven't really thought about it, and I don't really care to answer that question. Is there anyone who you have legit beef with in the MMA game that you would like to fight? Man, I don't have any beef with anybody, but I mean, I know as of right now, stand up wise, Conor McGregor's a lot better than me, but I hate Conor McGregor, and I hope that one day, you know, now that I'm able to train full time, I hope that one day I get to that level to where I'm, you know, in the rankings in order to fight that guy, and I would love to just beat the hell out of Conor McGregor. And you know, I mean, that's pretty much the only guy in the UFC that I don't like because he's a cocky prick and he thinks he's the best in the world. And somebody needs to shut his damn mouth. And I hope and pray that Nate Diaz shuts his mouth in a few days and maybe we won't have to hear from him for a while. All right, the next question is from Will This Work? What other jobs have you had? And if fighting wasn't an option, what would you be doing to make a living? Um, I worked at the shipyards. I worked as a pipe fitter helper, pipe fitter, and I've also built houses most of my life. And if I wasn't fighting, I'd probably be building houses because, you know, I love it. You know, I like working with my hands. I like, you know, seeing something go from the ground to all of a sudden you got a house or you got a building. And, you know, it's just fun to me. And you know, other than fighting, that's probably what I would do because you know, I just like I said, I really like it. I like to see what I did myself and what me and my team did, what we made. You know, what's your guilty pleasure in life? Whether a song, food, a vice, a hobby that people would make fun of you for, etc. Uh, uh, Oh man, the only thing I could think of that people might make fun of me for, you know, one thing that let me rethink that question. What is my guilty pleasure in life? I guess it's being corny. You know, like a lot of guys, they got game, they got a lot of pickup talk and pickup lines and stuff like that. If I'm talking to a girl, I'm just throwing out a corny ass line and just being myself and I guess that's something people would laugh at is me just being corny as hell and not giving a damn what nobody thinks. You know, regardless, I'm gonna be me, and I'm trying to say something that I think is funny to myself. If you don't think it's funny, oh well, laugh at me. I don't care. From Misha's Taint, what is the place you would like to visit most in the world? Uh, Honestly, I haven't given that a whole lot of thought, but I mean, I guess I could say Jamaica. I mean, I've thought about Jamaica a lot. I figured it'd be a cool place, you know, got nice beaches and stuff like that. So I guess Jamaica. Do you have any actual beefs with any other fighters? Somebody else already asked that question. I don't have any real beefs, but Conor McGregor, I hate that guy. What did you take away from your loss with Kawajiri, if anything? My loss with Kawajiri taught me not to ever let a guy take you down and never accept the takedown and be okay with it, and don't rely on my submissions to get me through the fight. I relied on my submissions, and I thought that eventually I was going to tap Kawajiri out, and that doesn't always happen. So it definitely taught me a lesson not to let the guy take me down, not to rely on my submissions. Would you ever consider training at other camps? Absolutely. I want to bounce around and cross train with as many people as possible. I want to do whatever I can to get better in this sport and evolve and become the best that I can be. And I know that I can't just do that staying right here at home and training only with Alan Belcher. Yeah, we got a good camp and everything, but you know, South Mississippi and the South period is not known for good wrestling. I need to move to other camps to improve my wrestling. I know that I can get my jiu-jitsu better. I can get my stand-up better right here at home, but I need to move away. Not necessarily move away, just cross train and go to other places to get my wrestling better. I mean, and of course, you know, going off training with different people, getting different bodies, it's gonna give me a different look at stand up and jiu-jitsu, and it's gonna get everything better. So, of course, I'm gonna cross train. All right, the next question is from Acid Rain. Has it always been your dream since you were a child to be fighting in the UFC? Not always, but since about the age 15, yes, it's been a dream, and you know, I couldn't think of doing anything else. After about the age of 15 or 16, you know, it went from something I was doing for fun to something that I knew was going to consume my life, and it was something that I had to make happen. All right, which up and coming fighters do you think we should all be keeping an eye on? The only one I can think of other than me, you know, everybody needs to keep an eye on me because I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna shock the world, I'm gonna keep getting better, I'm gonna keep winning fights, and I'm gonna try to keep picking up bonuses. But one of my coaches, a guy named Brandon Davis, man, this guy, he's one of the best I've seen as far as stand up goes, and he's got a lot of heart. This guy is definitely he's gonna make it to the UFC. It's just a matter of time. Tyler Hill, he's gonna make it to UFC. Just a matter of time. Omar Johnson. When this guy makes it to UFC, whenever y'all finally get to know who he is, Omar Johnson is going to destroy the 155 division. I'm talking about this guy is just nasty. You're going to see so many knockouts coming out of Omar, it's not funny. And, you know, I just think I should look out for them few fighters. They're all local guys, Mississippi, Alabama, and the South's on an uprise. You know, we're coming. What's my favorite style of fighter? Uh, my favorite style would be like the Robbie Lawlers. You know, I want somebody who's just nasty, gritty, gonna get in there and fight their heart out and show you exactly how much heart they got. They're not scared of anything. They don't care if they get knocked out. They don't care if you tap them out, whatever. They're going in there. They're leaving it all out there on the line, and they're not scared. You know, they're not fighting cautious. They're not trying to do what they got to do to win the fight. They're going in there and they're giving it all they got every single time. That's the kind of fighters that's my favorite. The kind of style, I guess. If you could trade any fighter skills for your own, who would you choose? Uh, I would take Chad Mendez's wrestling for my wrestling, or Chad Mendez, or let me see, Mighty Mouse. I'd take Mighty Mouse's wrestling. Mighty Mouse has got some awesome wrestling. Chad Mendez, awesome wrestling. Stand-up wise, I'll take Anderson Silver's stand-up any day of the week. You know, Anderson Silva, John Jones. If I could have their stand-up, Chad Mendez and them's wrestling, and my jiu-jitsu game, I think I'd be unstoppable. You know, if I got stand-up like them guys wrestling and my jiu-jitsu, I mean, I got the full package. And like I said, I'm going to keep improving. I'm going to keep getting better. And like I've heard GSP say it before, you know, he's an athlete. He's not just a fighter. He's not gonna stop ever. He's never gonna reach his limit. He's never gonna be his best because there's always room for improvement. And that's the way I look at it. I'm never gonna stop getting better because there's always something new coming out, something new that I can learn, something that I don't know, and something that someone can teach me. And I'm always gonna listen. I'm always gonna learn. All right, we just got a few more questions. All right, from Hodor is Bay. Your submission win over Harry Johnson was via arm triangle. You seemed to have it locked in, but you didn't pass to the other side. You actually mounted him for a second, then moved back to where you were originally. I'm not a BJJ expert, but I have trained in the past, and my coaches always told me to try to pass to the other side of your opponent's arm, but you stayed on the same side as your opponent's arm. I, I'm sorry. My coaches always told me try to pass to the same side as your opponent's arm. Johnson tapped quickly. So what I'm wondering, did you use a different technique my coaches don't know? Brute force, or you just knew you had him so it didn't matter? Teach me your ways. The choke that I tapped Harry Johnson with is called a Von Fluke choke, not a head and arm choke. Von Fluke choke, if the guy goes for a guillotine, whenever you take him down and you land on the opposite side, you lock your hands together. You go under his head, around, and you trap his arm in there. You lock your hands together. You drop your shoulder to one side, and you have his shoulder on the other side. You're cutting off one carotid artery. He's cutting off the other carotid artery. You drop that shoulder in. You drop your hip down. Your ear's touching his ear, and you apply as much pressure as you can. If they don't tap, they're going to sleep. It's called a Von Fluke choke, not a head and arm. Next question. You also used the rubber guard in the second round. That seemed to help you get up when you was on top. Is that something you train often? I think it's a technique when used properly can really help in MMA. Years ago, Jason Day used it to perfection when he fought against your coach, Alan Belcher. He controlled Alan's body with it and then used the elbows to gain the advantage. I thought after that fight, everyone would try to implement that as part of their game. I train rubber guard every day. You know, it's became second nature to me, and I catch a lot of people with my submissions from rubber guard, or I can tie them up and drop elbows, drop punches, you know, whatever. So yeah, I think rubber guard is definitely a big part of my game, and I'm gonna keep getting my rubber guard better. You know, I've only got a few tricks up my sleeve in the rubber guard, but there's so many tricks out there, and I'm gonna keep learning every one of them until that my rubber guard's the best in the world. Next question is from Rhino. What is my weekly training regimen? My weekly training regimen, when I don't have a fight coming up, I train 3 to 4 days a week, 2 to 3 hours a day. Whenever I know that I have a fight coming up, I'm in the gym as much as possible. You know, at least 5 to 6 days a week and 4 to 5 hours a day or more. And, you know, I'm really busting my butt. Whenever I'm not in the gym, I'm running, stuff like that. I just try to make sure that I'm ready and that my opponent can't get me tired. There's nothing in this world going to get me tired, and make sure that I'm 100% ready for the fight. What supplements do I take during training? I take protein shakes, multivitamins, uh, muscle recovery, the amino acids. Let me think. L-glutamine, and that's about it. Multivitamins, muscle recovery, protein, and L-glutamine. That's pretty much it. Do you cut weight via the sauna, sweatsuit method, or by diet? Uh, I've never really dieted. I've tried to keep my weight pretty low, and most of the time I use the sauna. But for this last fight, I just put on a sauna suit and hit combo mitts. But my weight cut's usually pretty easy for me. Another question from Rhino. Your division has a champion that seems to not want to defend his belt anytime soon. Do you think he should be stripped if his fight after Diaz isn't back at featherweight? Also, what do you think about how Conor seems to sell himself using his mouth outside the cage to gain popularity as well as extra money? He knows how to sell himself as well as his fights. Is that something you feel you should do if given the opportunity? I think that I think Conor McGregor's eventually going to go back and fight for his belt. I don't think he should be stripped because he beat Jose Aldo. He won the belt. He earned the belt, and I think that they should not let him fight in any other weight classes. I think they should make him defend his belt or give it up. Whatever he wants to do, let him have the choice to either fight or give up the belt. Uh, And as far as his trash talking goes outside the cage, no, I would never do that. I think it just it makes him look like a shitty person to me. I can't stand him for that. It makes me where I just hate Conor McGregor and I want somebody to shut his mouth so bad. And so no, I will never do that. Inside that cage, yeah, I'm gonna trash talk. And I think that should be okay. I mean, you're at war inside that cage. That guy's your enemy inside that cage. Before the fight, there's no need for y'all to be enemies unless they make themselves an enemy. Outside that cage, after the fight's over, you're supposed to shake hands. This sport's all about respect and honor, and I feel it's one of the most respectful sports in the world. The history of sports, MMA is one of the most respectful sports, and I think Conor McGregor is turning that all into shit. He's making the sport look bad, and I think somebody should shut his mouth. Have you met any fighters during training or at fights that you were in awe of? Uh, Omar Johnson, man, this guy, he knocks people out. He puts people to sleep. He's still a nobody. No one's ever heard of him. But I guarantee you in the future you will hear about Omar Johnson and you will see him knock people out. Are there any fighters you haven't met that would make you speechless? Who? Uh, I mean, maybe when I was a little kid, there was fighters that, like Chuck Liddell, BJ Penn, all that type of stuff, that if I met them, it probably, it'd be the coolest thing in the world. But now that I'm on that level that, I'm competing in the UFC, these are all just other fighters to me now. They're not really. I don't really see them from a fan aspect anymore. I see them as competition, and I don't think that any of them really are all that spectacular anymore. I think there's a lot of very good fighters, and I'm still a fan to a certain point. But at the same time, you got to set all that aside and look at these guys as competition. I'm sure besides getting a UFC contract, what is your greatest accomplishment as a mixed martial artist? Fight of the night. I mean, I just won $50,000 in my last fight, and I mean, what better accomplishment than having $50,000 and being able to somewhat change your life and your family's life? I mean, I'm able to actually do a lot of stuff I wasn't able to now, and so I mean, what better accomplishment than making $50,000 in 15 minutes? Well, yeah, I mean, I take that back. Other than the $50,000 fight of the night, I accomplished Joe Rogan sticking a microphone in my face, Joe Rogan talking good about me all during my fight. You know, since I was a little kid, or I don't, not since I was a little kid, but you know, since Joe Rogan started announcing for the UFC and started commentating, it's been a dream of mine to have that man just stick that microphone in my face and ask me how I felt about my fight and give me questions and stuff. And that was a huge, huge accomplishment, was getting up there and putting my arm around Joe Rogan and have him stick that microphone in my face. All right. Next question. You want to fight using the go-go plata? The only one I've ever seen I can remember was Nick Diaz over Gomi. Yeah, I've won 2 fights by go-go plata actually, and I plan on winning a couple in the UFC by go-go plata. I mean, it's one of my best submissions, and I'm good at it. I can't seem to find a video of your win anywhere. Is that something you look for often, or was there an opening for it, so you just jumped on it? I can't imagine. I can't imagine most fighters, even high quality black belts, look for it when they are on their backs. Since I can't find a video, can you describe the situation and how you locked it in? Was it quick tap, or were you even surprised? Uh, the first time I won by go-go plata was my 10th amateur fight. The guy, we went out tapped gloves, and as soon as we tapped gloves, he kicked me. He kind of cheap shot me and pissed me off a little bit. So I went in, tried to hit him with a 1-2. He went right under it for the takedown. And this was 3 or 4 months after I learned the rubber guard. I'd been drilling it, starting to catch people in the gym. The guy took me down, went straight for mission control, straight into the go-go plata, and wound up tapping him out with the go-go plata 30 seconds into the fight. And as soon as I hit my back, I knew I had it. The second fight was one of my pro fights. I can't even remember which one now. I think it was like my 10th pro fight or something like that. I caught the guy with a good straight right, and then he wound up trying to take me down. I tried to stop the takedown. We head-butted, and I got a bad cut above my eye. And anyways, he took me down, fell straight into my rubber guard. I started working it, and I finished that fight maybe a minute into the fight. And, you know, like I said the first time, as soon as I caught my rubber guard, I knew I had it. The last question is from Alienator. If you could train one technique from one master, alive or dead, who would be the teacher and what would be the technique? Technique is completely just the rubber guard, you know, anything in the rubber guard, and Eddie Bravo would be my teacher. And I know that's still a possibility, so Eddie Bravo hit me up, you know, come back to Allen's. I got to train with this guy one time, and this was really before my rubber guard game evolved. So Eddie Bravo, come back down, get to work with me, help me get better. And I want to thank everybody at the MMA community for having me on. I hope this video didn't go on too long. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good day.